Hey, so this is Bright. It's good to be talking with you guys again. So this video, I guess you could say, would be an additive to my last video. Even though I personally feel that I explained most of the things in that previous video pretty well. It has come to my attention, especially from my friends and family that know me in my personal life, that they are confused. People are helping me through this process of trying to explain this extremely difficult and chaotic phenomenon that we all experience as humans, even though we don't acknowledge it at most times in our lives. But this is something that I am working on, and I have others pitching in a collective effort to help me express this in the best way possible, because I realized in my last video that most of you guys were having trouble keeping track of what I was saying. Not only am I dyslexic and ADHD, and I do hop from topic to topic pretty fast, but the topic at hand is already extreme. So I will start off by saying this. The topics that I'm bringing up, dealing with Preen theory and who Bright is and all these things, and touching on God and stuff like that, this is pretty much known amongst the spiritual community, quantum mechanics communities, along with string theorists, spinner theory, classical physics, general relativity, all that type of stuff. Science, I guess you could say science nerds and people with PhDs and stuff like this that get masters in degrees for these topics speak on these things as well, and they're they're taught and trained in these realms. I have been studying these I guess you could say professors, listening to their lectures, going to different colleges and talking to people. I've been doing this for I would say since 2017. This is called my eye, and God showed me something pretty significant in my life that I didn't know about myself, and I am trying to successfully and clearly express this without causing people to go frantic or to just scare people with these topics. I understand that this may be my experience, and others may not. The majority of others may not experience this, but I'm going to do my best to try to explain this phenomenon that some of the people on this planet are experiencing, and more of us will in the future. This may not be for everyone, so if you're not even into science, you're probably not going to be keeping track with me. If you're not into metaphysics, if you're not into spirituality, if you're not a super heavy God person, some people are atheists. But if you're not into that and psychic phenomenon and stuff like that, then this is not for you. I appreciate you tapping in and checking up on me, but this will not be for you. So that being said, let's move forward with Preen theory. Preen itself, the word. As far as I know, I don't know any other educational teacher or anybody in academia or anywhere. I don't think there's not one person that used this word other than the plant related Preen term. This specifically is tied in with a couple things. Like I said, spirituality, God, psychic phenomena, people that experience autism and how that relates to psychic phenomena, metaphysics and how metaphysics plays into us being able to utilize some extraordinary abilities, tying all of this together, the utility of God and a relationship with God for you to properly do this in a proper manner, so this won't get chaotic and people are just using this for bad, So, and quantum mechanics ties into this a hell of a lot. Excuse my language. Spinner theory ties into this as far as like the geometric tensor bundles that's vibrating, and you know, the resonant frequencies that's across all space-time to be felt whenever you choose to pay attention to it. This thing that I'm talking about of becoming a preen takes multitudes of focus and time and dedication. Like I said in my first video I posted on my channel, you must die and be reborn again into this way of thinking and this way of living life. So if you're not gonna marry yourself and your God to do this, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, I mean this in this topic's related way, then this would not be for you. You can click off of this, and we can just talk about, like, as far as my friends and family concerned, when I see you, we can just talk about football or whatever's going on in your life. This right here is all my life involves and pertains to. So if you're ever going to talk about Bright, this is what's going on with me. This is what I care about. This is all I really want to talk about. You know, I like boxing as well. You know, we can talk about boxing or whatever. Anyway, see, I get off topic pretty fast. So, preens, I want you guys to understand. I want you to take the most difficult topic on this planet and then multiply the difficulty by 10. And that is what I am essentially trying to do. Explain something that should be unexplainable, right? Because in quantum mechanics, as we know, you know, the scholars and people that study this, we know we're talking about something that is nothing made something. I'm going to keep repeating that in my videos because you guys have to understand the laws in physics that goes on with this for you to yield anything that pertains to preen-like phenomenon. Excuse me. So, quantum mechanics, we start off with this field, and then there has something that's called the observer, right? Because we can have all the physical things we want to try to utilize and create objects, but if there's no creator or no observer to move these objects the way you want to create whatever, whether it's a wave, whether it's a hard object, whether it's a paper and all the atoms, there had to have been, and it was always a creator. You were always the creator. People are going to get mad how I explain these things because I'm explaining it very blunt and honest. I'm just saying, hey, you're God. Oh, whoa, we said we're God. What does that mean? We only should be praising the one true. Yes, we are. But how can you praise that very entity and not look at yourself in the mirror and say, wait, if locality and point of reference and my reference point of time is based off of what I know reality to be, and I know that God exists, why not talk to my creator about that and see how I can get a boost in enlightenment and understanding of how to mold reality into what I really want. Excuse me for stuttering. So yeah, I'm not saying I'm not trying to say anything too outlandish, even though this may seem like especially what's going to happen in the future. But all I was saying back then, speaking from the future, but now all I was saying now is that this is something that we all exhibited. We all have a certain type of manipulation over our reality, whether you know it and you're aware of it or not. Awareness is everything. Awareness plays a huge part in this, especially in quantum mechanics as well. We're talking about entanglement. We're talking about gauging. When you gauge a function, a wave function, depending on how you're measuring that function, the actual wave at that space-time, at that realm of space-time or dimensionality, is going to react to how you're measuring it or how you're looking at it. Your whole entire life does the same thing, and the universe does the same thing to how what we believe it to be. So a lot could stem from that one seed. all the way up until you become a preen, which I would say you become a master at manifestation, for a lack of a better term, because that's not even the best way to describe it. This is way more than manifestation. This is you picking up the pencil that God is, blessed us with by default, and utilizing that pen to create something, to yield something. But it has to be sought out. It has to be, you have to be very detailed about it. You have to take it very seriously. God isn't gonna take you seriously if you don't take him seriously. We all want to be like, oh yeah, my God, but bro, how much do you really trust and believe in your God? I ask my friends this, my partners. I'm from New Orleans. We say partners, we say homeboys, whatever. We're from the South, okay? So I ask my partners about this. I see them and me, and me and them. What do you see? I see Jesus in them, and Jesus in me. I see God in them, and God. I see everything and everybody, and all of these things that you experience life with are just refractions of you and your highest sense of self, which is God. This pen that I'm holding, and Billy Carson does this all the time. I know people probably don't really like us to get this concrete, but shout out Billy Carson. This pen that I'm holding is God. Every single atom in it had to been articulately placed here, and has to exist simultaneously at the speed of light, and has to have been observed from some type of mechanics or physics at a lower level to a higher level for this to even exist currently, for me to hold this. If one thing was off with the observer principle, this would poof out of existence. God is watching everything at all times, at all angles, simultaneously, across all space and time. It is insane amount of energy that's generated from these aspects of nature that we don't really pay attention to if you're not into science or reality and the inner workings of it. Anyway, to loop back to Preen, it's pretty much the highest extent of utilizing all the stuff that I just talked about previously. And even saying it like that is doing myself a disservice and others a disservice, because to actually do Preen-like phenomena or to exhibit these characteristics, no talking is needed. I told my father this when I first brought this to his attention. No talking is needed to get into this type of meditative process. To conclude this video, this might be a little bit of a longer conclusion. First of all, feel free to ask me questions. We could talk about this over the phone or through text, all the way up until things get a little bit more chaotic in my life and I have a lot going on. This is the only time I'll be able to answer questions this freely and consistently, because I'm going to be busy with a lot of things. I have my hands full in the latter years that's to come. So yeah, feel free to ask me questions. To give Preen a specific definition would be a disservice within itself. But if I had to give it a specific definition, which I also accurately described it in my paper, Preens, that will be coming in later events, I will be posting that on my website, my future website, that will be up at some point, so you guys can look forward to that. But basically, to give a accurate definition of Preens, it describes a fundamental aspect of the origin network of harmonics permeated by God and its interface with the geometric system we reside in. I know that to some of us that may sound a little complicated, but that is as simple as I can make it. You may just have to search a couple of definitions. So let me further get into that pure definition, which the true definition that I would want to present, that would be a lot more harder to grasp, would be like a paragraph long. That's how hard it is to give a definition to this word. But let's tackle this definition that I just pitched to you. Describes a fundamental aspect of the origin network. So reality and the inner workings of reality, from the micro to the macro, runs off of these fundamental aspects that I would call a network of sorts, right? Like I mentioned in my previous videos, connections, connections, connections. It is key to understanding, not only understanding, but yielding results within this phenomenon. So the Origin Network and other people like Stephen Hawking, Nikola Tesla, Walter Westbrook, Terrence Howard, we have Eric Weinstein, Robert Penrose. All these people accurately describe the Origin Network, the fundamental base of reality, which some also refer to as quantum mechanics. And these realms, you take the basic network of principles and utilize them almost as like you're cooking ingredients for the universe, and you yield a specific outcome that you may want to bring into to breathe into reality. And I said Origin Network of harmonics permeated by God. God is not only spiritual, like spiritual energies, but those energies and those dynamics take on shape. This is a geometric a geometric interface that God not only communicates but utilizes to create things with. We all know the beginning of the Bible, Genesis, talked about how he created the trees, how he created the water, how he created the air, and all these elements and things like this. You have to know the science. You don't just take the words and it's like, oh, the words is what spoke. When they say God spoke these words and created this creatism aspect of God speaking, this symbolization, these are symbolic expressions that are actually real. There's a science behind that. You have to look into that. There's geometric tensors and bundles that unfold or divide itself into reality. So you have to look at it like that, and then not even look at it like that, but know that this is truth. God utilizes what we call science and physics to create not only us, but everything else. Air has fundamental properties to it, geometric properties to it. The atoms aren't as compact. They radiate kind of in the same field. There's fields, there's energies, there's solid structures. All these things tie in together to create a cohesive structure. And then it creates a vessel, and then your vessel can become aware of what it is, of all these things that I'm pitching to you today. And then once it becomes aware, then you go to the next step and the next step and the next step. And this is what I refer to as Preens. When you learn all these aspects about not only reality, but yourself, God, and the universe and the physics behind it, and you utilize that on yourself or on something in reality that you want to manifest. Okay, so that's all I was saying. I know this sounds complicated, and how I just explained it is 10 times, a trillion times more complicated than even that. So I'm doing myself a disservice by trying to spoon feed a simple description of Preen and of God. We're talking about God, folks. We're talking about God and the mind and the consciousness, the collective entity and consciousness, the highest sense of self that we all have between our eyes and in our hearts, okay, and in our souls, and then this, and then this, and then and it keeps going, and you learn more until you have, so this is God. It's more than just this person or this thing or this entity, this divine entity that we pray to for all our problems. This is a physical thing. This is a thing that has a past, present, and future all tied in one moment. You learn about that moment, you study that moment. This is a thing that knows how to communicate with its creations. You have to learn about how does it communicate? It communicates through geometry as well. Or there's ways you can just because we're locked into this specific space of reality and dimensionality. I can get around that through consciousness because my consciousness isn't based three-dimensional based. It's not fixated in this one space of time. So you're telling me I can go to wherever God's at through meditative practices? Oh, you're telling me that the meditative practices that yogis and one, oh, that ties into that as well? And all we had to do was amp it up and create a stronger bond between that? Okay. And then you learn these things. Oh, it's a relationship. We all have girlfriends and boyfriends and mothers and fathers, family. It's a relationship. If you're in public and the bartender says, "Oh, what's your girl's favorite color?" and you're like, "Oh, I didn't get that deep. I didn't think I need to know." Bro, it's a relationship. Ask God what his favorite color is. Ask God how he likes to communicate. Ask God, what do you want from me? You want whatever I want for myself? This seems to have a reflective aspect. What is that reflective aspect? Oh, there's a science behind that? You go deep. You go deep. I'm telling you, there's not going to be a simple explanation for this. I know people was pushing for me to explain this properly for the general public, but let's get real. There's not going to be. This is up to the individual or individuals that already have a psychic disorder, and they just have a more of a sensitivity to this type of phenomenon aspect of God. But even those people don't really know what's going on. Some people in the past called this witchcraft. Some people in the past called this mental disorders and mental illness. That's how the majority of the world views these things. Autism, schizophrenia, dyslexia. All of these are underlying blessings, inherent abilities from God for you to pick up on and then utilize to yield something special. You have to go all out. Okay? I research every single aspect, and when I find something new, I don't just say, "Oh, that's interesting," and I put it to the side. I pick that up and I flip it on its head and I examine it. And a lot of people, when we're passionate about something, this is general public. I said everybody exhibits this in some type of way. There is levels, but everybody exhibits this. The spectrals, the people with autism and ADHD or OCD, bro, they're very tentative. They're very meticulous. Everything has to be organized. Take that and apply it to God. Take that and apply it to a business. Take that and apply it to the money frequency. Neuro knowledge speaks on that perfectly. Shout out to Neuro. Bro, when you find your thing, stay on it, work on it, and get somewhere with it. Don't just let it go. Don't just say, "Oh, the world, the economy." You're finding excuses to not be your full extent of yourself. God can't respect that. If I'm right here holding your hand, how can you deny greatness? Aside from that, I will touch on more things later. Thank you guys for listening to me. Obviously, you see I'm passionate about this because it had real effects in my life that was so substantial and so extraordinary. I can't even touch on these things until I do certain things. I appreciate you. This is Bright. I love all of you. Thank you for checking in.